overnight, ready to testify. Attorney General Jeff Sessions heading to Capitol Hill to appear before the same Senate committee that heard bombshell testimony from fired FBI Director James Comey. His side of the story about his contacts with the Russians.
Clashing protests, the dueling demonstrations in several cities over Islam. Police using pepper spray making arrests.
Enslavement of women, execution of gays.
Why some say it's an effort to demonize an entire faith.
Rescued at sea, transatlantic racers ready for a challenge, but sailing into a boatload of trouble. Tossed about in the high seas, the Queen Mary 2 coming to the rescue of this damaged vessel. How that skipper is doing this morning.
And remembering Batman. Celebrating the life of Adam West, the campy Caped Crusader who bammed, powed, and thwacked his way into our hearts.
Kids, Batman!
And reaching a younger generation with cartoon comedy. What he said about how he'd like to be remembered.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Good Sunday morning, everybody. And, you know, someone is waking up much richer this morning. A single ticket matching all 6 Powerball numbers was sold in California. That ticket is worth almost $448 million, one of the largest jackpots in history.
Well, we know since he showed up to work today that it wasn't Ron Claiborne who bought the ticket, although he did just walk
He just
away.
left.
Maybe he just checked his numbers.
You're from California.
It could be that.
Is this how we're going to find out?
There he is. He's coming back.
Where are you going?
I was going to put my contacts in, but
Okay, there we go.
Really?
We love the bespectacled look on Ron Claiborne.
We do the
I'll
show
stick with it
same
now.
time every Saturday.
Welcome to
We're going to give
Weekend
you a
Q&A.
piece
Thanks,
of
Rob.
prize.
We're going to
for
have
that
much
one.
more on the Powerball winner, a.k.a. not Ron Claiborne, coming up. But let's get to our top story this morning. The Attorney General Jeff Sessions heading to the hot seat.
Just days after that explosive testimony from fired FBI Director James Comey, AG Sessions, who used to be Comey's boss, will appear before the same congressional committee that Comey did, investigating alleged Russian meddling in the presidential campaign.
Sessions has been under scrutiny over his contacts with Russia's ambassador to the U.S. during the campaign. He got into hot water for belatedly acknowledging 2 meetings, but was there a third?
We want you to look at this image. Sessions standing just feet away from the seated Russian ambassador at a Trump campaign event. Now, the AG will likely be asked about this when he appears before Congress on Tuesday.
George Stephanopoulos standing by. We're going to start here with ABC's Mary Bruce, who's in Bedminster, New Jersey, where the President Trump, is spending the weekend. Mary, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. Well, Sessions was supposed to appear before an unrelated committee, but now, because there are so many Russia-related questions for the Attorney General, Sessions has agreed to appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee on Tuesday to address this issue head-on.
After James Comey's stunning Russia testimony,
Take the president at his word that I was fired because of the Russia investigation.
this morning the Attorney General is now headed for the congressional hot seat. Jeff Sessions has already recused himself from the Russia investigation because of his close ties to the Trump campaign.
I should not be involved investigating a campaign I had a role in.
But Comey has hinted there were other reasons.
We also were aware of facts that I can't discuss in an open setting that would make his continued engagement in a Russia-related investigation problematic.
Investigators are looking at this event, then candidate Trump's first major foreign policy speech last year.
My foreign policy will always put the interests of the American people and American security above all else. Has to be first.
That's Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak in the front row. And there's Jeff Sessions. Investigators want to know if the 2 men had any interaction at this event. Sessions has already come under fire for initially failing to report 2 other meetings with the ambassador during the campaign. Now, in a letter to lawmakers, Sessions says in light of Comey's testimony, it is important that I have an opportunity to address these matters.
Now, lawmakers are also likely to press Sessions about the parameters of his recusal and ask how he responded to Comey's request that Sessions not leave him alone with the president after those awkward encounters. Dan and Paula.
All right, Mary Bruce reporting from Bedminster, New Jersey this morning. Mary, thank you. We want to bring in our chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos, who's going to be hosting this week a little bit later.
Good morning, guys.
This morning. Good morning to you, George. So let's talk about Jeff Sessions. He will be testifying before the Senate Intelligence Committee on Tuesday. Why would he want to do this?
Well, Mary just laid out the questions he has to answer. I mean, there were a lot of revelations in that Comey hearing right there, saying he knew of some intelligence that led him to believe that Sessions would have to recuse himself. Those questions about why he failed in his first meetings with the Judiciary Committee to reveal his meetings with the Russians and the possibility of the third right there. And perhaps most important, this question of recusal, whether it was proper for him to be involved in the firing of James Comey when in fact he was supposed to have recused himself from the Russia investigation. As Comey said in his testimony, the president himself said that he fired James Comey with Russia on his mind.
We're now 3 days out from Comey's explosive and apparently well-watched testimony. What's your sense of how it's playing out now?
Well, what you've now got is two very different stories from two very different men, James Comey and Donald Trump. They direct contradictions. They're basically each calling the other one a liar right now about the meetings in January in the White House, the meeting in February in the White House.
Comey is literally using that word.
Using that word. That now almost certainly something that Special Counsel Robert Mueller has to look at. You know, the president claimed as vindication the fact that James Comey said that he wasn't under investigation for for any contacts with Russia. He is almost certainly now under investigation for possible obstruction of justice, given the fact that Comey has turned over those memos. And we're going to talk this morning to two people who know a lot about this. Number one, Preet Bharara, the former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, who was actually fired by President Trump. Like James Comey, this is his first television interview since being fired, and he knows both James Comey and Robert Mueller very well. And we're also going to talk to a member of the president's legal team. A lot of questions for Jay Sekulow, one of the president's attorneys, to answer.
And real quick, you mentioned vindication, but Trump feels vindicated by Comey's testimony, as does his base. They are standing firmly by him. What's your take on that?
So far, I mean, yeah, I think some of the polling shows that, especially you go to Breitbart, you go on right-wing media sites, they're all echoing the Trump line right now. There has been some drop in strong support for the president. One of the things you saw, I think, up in the Senate at that Intelligence Committee hearing, Republican senators, a lot of them did try to put the best face on Trump's actions. I think there's no question about that. But you also saw them, almost to a person, vouch for James Comey's credibility.
Sure.
So I think one of the big questions you're going to see is, does the president's story hold up under oath, if indeed he does, as promised, testify about this?
So important to watch what happens with the Trump base. George Stephanopoulos, thank you very much. A reminder, George has a big show this morning. As he said, he's going to go one-on-one with the former U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara for his first TV interview since being fired by President Trump. Plus, as he said, he's going to be speaking with Jay Sekulow, Chief Counsel of the American Center for Law and Justice. That's coming up later this morning on This Week, right here on ABC. We're going to move on now, though, to a deadly attack on American soldiers overseas. U.S. officials say an Afghan army soldier who was being trained by our troops turned on them, opening fire.
ABC's Stephanie Ramos is in Washington with who's claiming responsibility for this attack. Good morning, Stephanie.
Dan and Paula, good morning. The Taliban did not waste any time claiming responsibility for this attack. Incidents like these have gone down in recent years, but this shooting rampage is bound to influence how President Trump and his national security team respond to the fight in Afghanistan.
American soldiers ambushed in a deadly insider attack in eastern Afghanistan. According to Pentagon officials, an Afghan army soldier aimed his weapon on U.S. service members there to train him as part of the Train, Advise, and Assist missions. 3 U.S. Army soldiers killed, 1 more wounded. The Taliban says they're responsible, releasing this photo of the alleged attacker who was killed.
If you look at the number of insider attacks since the U.S. has been in Afghanistan, many of these attacks have come from people who have lived or been recruited from the eastern provinces, which are up next to Pakistan, which is traditional Taliban home territory.
The attack in the same province where the U.S. dropped its most powerful non-nuclear bomb on ISIS targets in April. President Trump and Vice President Pence were briefed immediately.
When heroes fall, Americans grieve, and our thoughts and prayers are with the families of these American heroes.
This insider attack, typically called a green on blue attack, is the deadliest in more than a year. And Afghan soldiers, they're also at risk of being targeted by who they think are comrades. Dan and Paula.
So sad for those fallen soldiers. Stephanie, thank you. We want to turn now to a dramatic rescue at sea.
A skipper sailing straight into trouble when bad weather got the best of him. Enter the Queen Mary 2. ABC's Ariel Reshef is here with more. Hey, Ariel.
Hey, good morning. The Queen Mary 2 coming about for that stranded sailor. Passengers watching the daring rescue after a storm left him stuck in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The luxury liner going into full rescue mode when seasoned yachtsman Mervyn Wheatley called for help from the middle of the ocean. At around 2 a.m., Captain Chris Wells of the Queen Mary 2 received a distress call.
There was a 38-foot yacht in distress in our area.
Wheatley was competing in the single-handed transatlantic race. The race set sail at the end of May in Plymouth, England. Competitors expected to dock at their final destination later this month in Newport, Rhode Island. His yacht, known as the Terramond, making its way across the Atlantic when a violent, unexpected storm whipped up overhead. The boat overtaken by extreme conditions with winds up to 69 miles per hour. With the help of the Canadian Coast Guard, the ocean liner carrying nearly 3,000 passengers switching course, traveling more than 200 miles out of its way, all to save Wheatley from his stranded vessel.
I'm very, very pleased that we were on time. The boat survived until we got there, and that we were able to successfully effect the rescue.
3 other boats in that race suffered some damage from the strong storm. Wheatley was checked by a medical team, and this morning we know, thankfully, he's doing just fine. I'm sure very grateful, though, that yacht came about.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ariel. Appreciate it. We're heading into a big day in court tomorrow. More than a dozen members of a now banned Penn State fraternity accused in the death of a pledge named Timothy Piazza. They're going to go before a judge.
The hearing will decide if there is enough evidence for their cases to go to trial. ABC's Eva Pilgrim joins us with what details are expected to be made public. Hi, Eva.
Good morning, guys. All eyes will be on a key piece of evidence, surveillance video. Video prosecutors say shows exactly what happened the night a Penn State student died.
For the first time, video recorded inside a Penn State frat house the night a pledge died will be played publicly in court.
We expect that videotape to be horrible, that it will be the kind of evidence which will make a significant impact.
19-year-old Tim Piazza died after falling headfirst down the stairs of the Beta Theta Pi fraternity house this past February after a pledge party allegedly turned into an alcohol-fueled hazing ritual. The fraternity brothers accused of waiting nearly 12 hours before calling for help.
We have a friend who is unconscious. He hasn't moved. His cold extremity is probably in an ambulance.
Monday, 18 members of the now banned fraternity are due in court. 8 facing charges of involuntary manslaughter and assault. A judge deciding if there is enough evidence for the case to go to trial. Prosecutors plan to play surveillance video of the incident, hours of footage.
So what we have here is evidence which is quite unusual, and we're not in this case talking about who said something happened, but rather what was recorded as to what happened.
Prosecutors allege his fraternity brothers tried to cover up their drinking and coordinate a story. One of the members not charged telling our Robin Roberts he tried to get Piazza help.
I said we should call 911, get him in an ambulance. I got thrown against the wall. I didn't know what to do after that. I felt kind of useless.
It's nice that he had good intentions at the time, but I don't know why anybody didn't pick up a phone.
And one of the defense attorneys agreeing this was a tragedy, but saying it doesn't mean there was any intent involved. Since Piazza's death, Penn State has permanently banned Beta Theta Pi and added new restrictions for all Greek organizations.
I sat down with the Piazza family. They are on a mission to change the way cultures operate, especially Greek culture operates on campuses across the country. They're not sure whether they're going to be willing to watch that tape in court tomorrow. As you can imagine, incredibly painful for them. Eva, thank you very much.
Eva.
Really appreciate it. A lot of other news this morning, and for that, as always, we get it over to Ron Claiborne, who we can confirm is still at the desk. He is not abandoned.
Without his contacts.
I returned and I'm staying.
Okay.
Dan, good morning,
morning,
to
sir.
you, Paula and Robert. Good morning, everyone. We're going to begin with the protesters and counter-protesters gathering from coast to coast, clashing over Islam.
USA! USA! USA!
In California, demonstrators gathering in San Bernardino on Saturday at the site where a husband and wife, motivated apparently by Islamic extremism, killed 14 people That was back in 2015. The event's organized by a group called ACT, Ardent Opponents of Sharia, or strict Muslim law, who say that Islamic religious doctrine is contrary to basic human rights. Their words there. And in Germany, 3 British citizens have been detained following an emergency landing after the pilot was told that those people had had suspicious conversations about, quote, terrorist matters. The jet with 151 people on board headed from Slovenia to London. It was diverted to the Cologne-Bonn airport in Germany last night. German news agency DPA reporting that police seized a backpack that belonged to one of the men, exploding it outside the aircraft. And also in London, police are releasing more pictures from the London terror attack. These images are what investigators are saying were fake explosive belts. Each consisted of 3 disposable water bottles covered with masking tape. Police say the 3 men who launched that attack were all wearing them when they were fatally shot by police officers. And from Switzerland, this video showing ex-Top Gear host Richard Hammond just seconds before he veered off the road there, and crashes in his car worth nearly $1 million, causing it to catch fire. The crash happening while Hammond was practicing for his new show, The Grand Tour. He was airlifted to the hospital where he is being treated for a fractured knee. Lucky, only a fractured knee. And back here at home, a special honor for former Arizona Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. She becoming the 2nd woman ever to have a Navy ship named after her while she's still alive. Jill Biden, the wife of former Vice President Joe Biden, was on hand to launch at a ceremony in Galveston, Texas. Yesterday, Giffords, who served on the House Armed Services Committee, was wounded in an assassination attempt. The ship named after her will set sail for San Diego, where it will be based. And in Indiana, this surveillance video showing a pregnant woman refusing to give up her car without a fight. Selena Gonzalez is her name, and she left her car running at a gas station. Not a good idea. 2 men jumped inside. She reached in, how about that, trying to grab the keys. The men took off in the car. Was later found in an impound lot. Gonzalez, though, is okay. And finally, we have a winner in last night's Powerball drawing, and it's not you, unless you bought that ticket in Sun City, California. 1 ticket matching all 6 numbers was bought worth, listen to this, $447.8 million before taxes. Sold in Sun City. Officials say it's the 7th largest jackpot in Powerball history. Officials saying that the winning numbers that you didn't have were 20, 26, 32, 38, 58 in the Powerball 3.
I wish I had a cousin.
Yeah, but as we always caution winners of these big Powerball jackpots, money will not buy happiness.
More money, more problems.
Yeah, exactly. You're better off without it.
Well, a lot of people go broke after winning the lottery.
Yeah.
You're
they
better.
Just don't know what to do with it.
You're better off without it.
A lot of things. Yeah, you're better off.
My grandfather used to say, "Rich or poor, it's nice to have money."
Yeah.
That's an excellent point.
What's going on in the weather?
It's nice to have nice weather, too.
It is. Well, it's going to get really hot, and our big heat wave. And to do that, to combat that, why don't you go out and just paint your roof white? This is what my man Ron Claiborne was doing yet. He doesn't know I'm showing this. Yeah, it's called the New York City Cooled Roofs Campaign, and volunteers go out and they paint the roofs of buildings across the city white to increase the albedo to reflect that heat so that the city doesn't get as hot and those buildings get a little bit more efficient, and that's what Ron did for a Saturday afternoon. Bravo, RC.
I was out there painting.
You were helping too?
20 volunteers.
That's
nice.
Yeah, he's not the only volunteer.
Your weather.
All right, Ron, thank you. 92 degrees in Chicago. Chicago wants your services, Ron. So does Kansas City, St. Louis. They all want to cool down, and the heat wave is going to persist across the Northeast today, tomorrow, and probably on Tuesday. Some record-breaking temps here and some severe weather across the northern plains. Here we go for your local forecast right now.
Well, today marks the first day of the heat wave in the D.C. area. We do have an air quality alert extending for Howard and Anne Arundel counties. So if you're in the sensitive groups, definitely want to limit your time outside. Our daytime highs getting into the low 90s, certainly well above our average, about 10 degrees above. Factoring in high dew points, it will feel pretty uncomfortable for the afternoon. This area of high pressure sticks around for most of the day, Monday and Tuesday. That means sunshine and the heat continues.
Ron's still scraping the white paint off his hands.
Really?
Nice work.
Really.
Stay cool out there.
Thank you, Robert and Ronald. This morning, fans around the world are remembering television legend Adam West, the original Batman who generations grew up watching.
ABC's Clayton Sandell is in Los Angeles with more on this superhero beloved by so many. Good morning, Clayton.
Hey, good morning, guys. No offense to the Keaton, the Bale, or the Affleck Batman, but for
fans of a certain age, even in reruns, Adam West was the Caped Crusader.
Take my bat radio.
He was best known as TV's Batman.
Batman to Coast Guard.
With that unmistakable voice.
It's a low neighborhood.
An unforgettable charm.
You interest me, strangely.
Adam West rocketed to global